4 new poses that we're going to be doing. And then the B version of 3 will be the Tai-Fascia infusion of those 4 poses. So you should have already done 1A and B and 2A and B. And then there is a continual C that's added on each one. And so today we're going to talk about 4 poses that are going to open up your lower back. It's good for your kidneys, inner thighs, strengthens your legs, opens up your obliques. And so you're going to use these poses so it can help with your kidneys, lower back pain, tightness in your back, opening the heart and lungs, especially opening up the genders of the body, which would be the feminine side and masculine side. Right side is masculine and the feminine side is the left side. All right? So 4 poses are Camel, Knee-Lunge stretch, and then we're going to move into a modified split, and then Pigeon. And all of this is going to work that whole first and second chakra along with that third chakra. Remember, the third chakra is always 1 inch below the navel and 1 inch above the navel. Okay? First chakra is the tailbone all the way down the legs, the knees, ankles and feet, the root, the grounding of who you are. And then the second chakra is the sex organs or the sacrum area, which is in that lower back. Remember, we breathe through the front and the back of our chakras, right? And it's a figure 8 hovering above your head like a halo. And that's how you actually breathe. And it also is actually how the chakras move in and out of the body. Okay? So doing this type of practice is really going to open up this area, especially for ladies. We store a lot of our emotions down in our hip flexors, right here in between the top groove of the ribs, right? This is the top part of the diaphragm. So when you're breathing, make sure you use your Ujjayi breath. Breathe in through your nose, exhale through your nose, take your time. So I'm going to go full out in this with you. We are on this third section, and so you should be okay to flow with me and hold the poses with me. Okay? All right. So we're going to turn to the side. We're going to come down on our knees. So remember, the middle of the 2 mats has a cushion because it's 2 double mats. So if you don't have 2 mats, go ahead and get one, or get yourself one, some carpet or something like that to support you. So starting on your knees, you want to make sure that your knees are hip distance apart, right? Not shoulder distance, hip distance apart. And you want to focus on pushing the hips forward and lift up in the navel in Camel. Now on 3B, you would infuse all these 4 poses that I'm talking about into the Tai-Fascia Yoga, just like 1 and 2. Okay? So we're on our knees, right? And if you notice, hey, this feels good, stay here. But if it does not feel good, you can always get some more cushion by bringing the mat in for your knees. Okay? Now keep in mind, in the Tai-Fascia Yoga, you will not be able to move the mat around like that. So make sure you get a good mat that's thick enough for you and that is durable and you can travel with the mat. Okay? 2 yoga mats for Tai-Fascia. But we're going to learn these 4 traditional poses first in order to infuse the Tai-Fascia Yoga together. Okay, so we're on our knees. You're going to take your hands to your hips, push the hips forward, and as soon as you push the hips forward, your buttocks is going to squeeze, and I want you to relax them. That'll drop the tailbone and the lower back. Then I want you to lift up in your lungs, right? And then breathe here first. Just get your hands behind the lower back, chin into the chest. Breathe in 3 to 5 breaths. See if you can draw those shoulders back. Now reach one arm up towards the ceiling as your chin is into your chest, and take the opposite palm down towards and touch the back of your heel. Then lift your lungs up as you gaze up through the thumb that's reaching towards the ceiling, and breathe here. Right now you're getting a good stretch in the bicep, the arm that's down, and forearm stretch. Right here you're getting in the upper arm that's reaching towards the ceiling. It's lifting up your heart and your lungs. Good. One more breath. And exhale. Tuck your chin into your chest. Release that stretch by sitting down on the heels. Go ahead, snake a little bit with your tailbone. So I always say do some circles with your hips. just a little bit, and then go the opposite direction. Keep your heart and your lungs open, and then slowly come back up. Push the hips forward, lift in the lungs. Reach the arm up towards the ceiling, drop the opposite arm back there and reach for your heel. Now say you get here and you're not able to reach for the heel, just keep your hands at the lower back or to your sides, right? From here, reach up towards the ceiling, open your heart, push the hips forward, slightly look up, keep gazing at that thumb is up towards the ceiling. Now if you have neck issues, keep your chin in your chest and just work the torso, the hips, and feel that compression and that tightness in your back, right? So right now you're flooding a lot of oxygen in the lower back. Big breath in. Exhale, tuck your chin in your chest if you're not there. Go ahead and grab your stomach and then lower back. Sit down on your heels. Again, circles with the tailbone. So you want to imagine that your tailbone has a pin at it and you're drawing circles with it. So this should feel really good in the sacrum. Some of you, this might not feel good because it's been really tight in this area. So some of you might have to come here and make some cat and cow circles, right? So you go with what feels good. All right, from here, the next pose is knee lunge stretch, right? So knee lunge stretch, we're going to go ahead and release one of the mats forward and, well, let's switch. Bring one foot forward, stacking the knee right over the ankle. Making sure hip joints are stacked right over the knee. Tuck the toe under. Good. Lift up in the chest. Reach your hands up towards the ceiling. Drop the shoulders. Now the tendency is to collapse that lower back and see how my belly's leaning forward. I'm kind of arched there. You don't want to do that. You want to drop that tailbone and pull the navel in as if you're leaning towards the back of a wall. And then if you have high blood pressure, go ahead and place your hands on top of your head just to modify. Otherwise, reach the hands up. Breathe here. Now we're going to add to this pose here. We're going to twist our navel to the inside of the thigh and cross the arm over the thigh. Release the back arm and push it right into that lower back. Pull up in the side again. Inhale, exhale, twist the navel, then ribs, shoulder. We did this in the first and second one, and neck. Good, breathe here. And the more you drop that tailbone and lengthen that spine, you're going to feel some resistance from the upper of the spine and the lower spine. So what you're doing is opening that big muscle, which is your latissimus dorsi. It's the biggest muscle in the back. Good. One more big breath in. And exhale, unwind. Bring your hands towards the earth. Then from here, you're going to go right into a modified split from here. Push the hips all the way back. And notice how I untucked my toe. Push the hips back. Push the hips forward. Now notice my knees over the toes. Only in this pose you should do this unless the teacher says to bring the knee over the toes. Otherwise, you always want to stack the knee over the ankle. Push the hips back. Push the hips forward. Push the hips back. And notice I'm going further and further. Push the hips forward. Now this time, open your chest as you do that. Push the hips back. Keep the chest open. Push all the way back. Go as far as you can. Breathe here. Point and flex the toes. See if you can pull your navel in towards your spine. And then come back up. Good, nice. Then release that foot back. And big breath in. Exhale, ha. All right, here we go. We're going to go ahead and swing the opposite foot forward. Stacking the knee on top of the ankle. Hip is stacked right over the knee. Balance and lift yourself up. Drop your tailbone, pull the navel in. So you should get a nice stretch in the front of the thigh when you do that. And this is also a psoas stretch. Good, reach the hands up towards the ceiling. And if you notice any sensation in that knee, remember you can always stack that mat on top to support your knee. Good. From here, take a deep breath here. Breathe in, look up through your thumbs. Good. One more breath in. Let's get ready for that twist. Twist the navel towards the inside of the thigh, crossing the arm over the thigh. Placing the back hand into the lower back. Breathe in through the nose. Exhale, drop that tailbone. Do not stay in the pose if you're uncomfortable. And notice how I just released the knee there. So I noticed that that knee is uncomfortable on this position. So I'm going to do it again. Come back into it and notice I'm just flowing with that breath. If you're still in that pose, stay there. Good. One more breath, everyone. Good. And exhale, unwind. Bringing the palms to the inside of the foot. Let's come into our modified split. Release the back foot. Push the hips back. And push the hips forward. Let's take a breath here and move with the breath. Breathe in. Exhale, push the hips back. Good. Inhale, push the hips forward. Open the chest. Exhale, push the hips back. You should feel a nice stretch and a tug at the toes or the ankle. That's the fascia unwinding. Good. Keep pushing the hips back. And you're going back and forth until you go as far as you can. Good. Feel. Some of you might feel this at your knee, your hip joint, your hamstring, and inhale, rise up. And you don't have to go as far as I went, and then exhale, release the foot. Now right now, there's a lot of energy right here at the hip flexors from doing that. So we're going to move into Pigeon, because Pigeon helps to rotate the hips open so you can get a deep stretch right here on the outer part of your thigh and also the inner, and that pose is called Pigeon pose. Now, most people don't like Pigeon pose. Pigeon pose is actually one of my favorite poses, but it's not everybody's pose, especially if you're tight at the hips. So we're going to do a transition pose into the Pigeon, and that pose is going to be called down dog. And you've seen this pose on many magazines. You've seen it everywhere. So we're going to go ahead and bring it in. Spread the fingers wide and press it to the top of the mat. Tuck the toes under. Lift the knees off the floor. Test yourself out and then drop the hips back down. This is just a transition pose. Inhale, exhale, lift the hips up. And then slowly walk the toes in just a little bit just to get a good stretch here. Keep your knees bent. Take a deep breath here. Exhale, take a ha. Pushing the navel into the thigh. So we don't want our legs straight right now. We just want our knees bent to get a nice long torso. Good. From here, we're going to go ahead and step your right or left foot, depending on what foot you use, and bring it up there where your fingertips are at. You're going to drop that knee down, and you're going to walk the top foot over to the same side that your knee is on. Right? So it looks just like that. Now I'm going to turn to the front so you can see what happens to the knee. From here, as you walk that foot over towards and line it up with the same knee, right? Then you may walk and drag that foot in towards your body, lower the knee down. Now some of you are going to have to do some adjustments there based off your hip, so make it work for you. Now, from here, what you're doing is you're lengthening this back leg. So I'm going to turn back to the side so you can see that. Wherever you're at, stretch and breathe. So the knee will come down, then you lift this foot up, and knee up, and just keep walking that knee back. Release the toes, and then feel that stretch. So we want this hip to start sinking down towards the floor. It does help to relax your shoulders. You can grab your pillows if you like and place them here if you need some modifications. Maybe you're not able to go all the way down, but challenge yourself. All right? So let's inhale, rock the hip where the knee is bent, and then exhale, rock the hip that's to the floor. Inhale, rock the hip towards the knee that's bent, and exhale, rock the hip to the hip that's down to the floor. Inhale, rock the knee. Exhale, rock the hip to the floor. Inhale. Exhale. So the exhale is on the leg that's extending back. Inhale and exhale. So that should have helped you to go down a little deeper. Now come down onto your elbows or forearms. Keep those shoulders relaxed. You don't want the shoulders into your ears. Pull up and strengthen. Let's rock again. Inhale, rock the hips towards the knee that's bent. Exhale, rock to the open hip to the floor. See if you can pull your navel in towards your spine. Inhale, rock the hip over to the knee that's bent. And exhale, rock downward towards the floor. 2 more. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Now you can move the pillow if you don't need it and you want to go deeper. You find yourself, your hips are opening. You can come down on the forearms and rest your head. You also can reach your arms all the way out and bring your forehead to the floor. If you got a partner at home, this feels really good if they can press onto your back and maybe massage the lower back and middle of the back. It feels really good. Stay here and breathe and relax your shoulders. Breathe 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Take a deep breath in. Exhale, take a ha. This is also really good for the kidneys and the hamstrings, the entire thigh muscle. Now slowly come up, walk your palms back in towards the body, and you're going to sink your hips over to the knee that's bent as if you're taking a seat. Swing that back leg towards the front. Release both feet together and legs together, and take a tapping sensation. Tap the leg that was bent. And then from there, take a deep breath here. Exhale, take a ha. 1 more breath in. And exhale, take a ha. Now let's do the opposite leg. We come to that down dog again. So I'm just going to show you from a different angle. Swinging my feet towards the back, palms towards the top of the mat. I lift my hips. I'm going to keep my knees bent so I can pull that navel in towards the belly, so I can get a nice long spine. Shaking your head, yes and no. Breathe in through the nose. Exhale through the nose. Good. From there, take the opposite foot to the top of the mat where your fingertips were, dropping the knee down. Walk the foot over towards the opposite side that's lined up with the knee. Drag the foot in towards your body. Lower the knee down. Good. From here, walk that back leg. Remember, we're going to walk it back and straighten the back leg as much as we can. Right? Now, there's another way you can do this pose. You can take your pillows. And say your hips won't go all the way down. Okay, so I'll turn to the side so you can see that. Let's do it this direction. All right, so you walk the foot over, knee is down, you're like, hey, my hips won't go down. Well, you can use pillows and push it right up under your tush, Sink your hips right there, but work on lengthening this back leg. That is the key to dropping the hip to the floor. Still pull up in your chest. And if you notice that your hip is too high, just move one of those pillows out the way. All right, so this feels nice and yummy. Breathe here. Release the back foot. Pull up, shoulders out of your ears. Never stop using the Ujjayi breath. The knee that's bent, we're going to inhale and rock the hips over to one side. And then exhale, rock the hips over to the open hip. Keep doing that. Inhale, rock the hips over to the knee that's bent. Exhale, rock the hips over to the knee, to the hip that's open. Inhale, rock the hips over. See how I'm sitting over here? Rock the hips over to the knee that's bent. And exhale, rock the hip that's open. Inhale, rock the hip to the knee that's bent. And exhale, rock the hip that's open. There's a lot of things happening here. this feels so good. I love Pigeon. Right now, it feels like the fascia is just unwrapping the entire thigh, even around my knee. Right? That's so good. It feels good. So you go to it feels good for you, right? And if you're more flexible, you can get creative here. Feel like you get creative because that's what Tai-Fascia is going to teach you. And then as we slowly sink our hips back over to one side, let's come down on the elbow, lift the hip back up. So you want to line your spine back to the center of the mat. Tucking your chin into your chest to release the toes, release the hip to the floor. You also can do this with me. Inhale, squeeze the buttocks as tight as you can. Exhale, release the buttocks. Inhale, squeeze. Pull that pelvic floor up. Exhale, release. 2 more. Inhale, squeeze the buttocks. Pull the pelvic floor up. This is all personal here. Exhale, release the buttocks. 1 more. Inhale, squeeze the buttocks as tight as you can. Lift the pelvic floor. And exhale, release. See if you can go deeper. And then if not, bring your palms to the top of the mat. Sink on the side that the knee is bent. Swing that back leg around. Help yourself out. You gotta help yourself out. Bring it forward. Tap the legs. All right. So we did 4 poses, and if you can feel right now, if you did that with me, you can feel this, or if you're replaying it, just be mindful you're breathing for the 1st through the 3rd chakra. So I'll run through the poses really quick. Camel, push hips forward, lift up in your chest. Reach one arm up towards the ceiling here. You'll switch. Some of you can do both. Safe way to come out is grab the belly, tuck the chin into the chest, lift yourself up. Spiral your tailbone around in 2 circles, one direction. Good, nice. Knee-lunge stretch, swinging 1 foot forward, reach the hands up and over your head, take a stretch. You can arch that if you feel, if your body honors that. Then come into that twist, bringing the navel towards the inside of the inner thigh. Touching the lower back, lift up in your chest. Enjoy the stretch and twist. The key is to drop the tailbone. And then inhale, exhale, bring the palms to the inside of your foot. Rock the hips back into modified split. Back and forth. Maybe look out so that way you can lengthen the spine. Ah, that feels so good. And inhale 1 more. And exhale. So you'll do that back and forth. And you can do that as long as you like to make it yummy. You can wiggle your hips if you like, right? You can do anything you like there that feels good. Then coming out of that, we move right into our pigeon. Now notice you can go straight into pigeon right here instead of doing the down dog. But what I would like to challenge you is to come into the down dog, lifting the hips up. Keep the knees bent. Stepping the opposite foot forward. Walking the foot over to one side, it's lined up with the other knee. Drag the foot in, pop the knee down, release the toe, push and open that knee, push and open the knee, and then release the toe. Feel the stretch here in your pigeon. Walk the hips over to one side, and then take it over to the open hip. You can play with that. If you want to snake it, you can. So make it yummy for yourself. And then once you're done, make sure you do the other side. You can kind of switch and play on the mat if you like. All right, go right into that down dog. Good. Then you take the opposite foot down, and you take it to the other side. And you just keep moving through. So if you keep practicing that, playing around with the mat, you'll notice that you'll start to get familiar with the movements, where to place your hands. Don't get frustrated. All you have to do is just breathe. Try your best. Use your props. When you're done with that, we always take a resting pose from here. So you can take that pillow, place it behind your head, right? Maybe bring your knees in towards the center and open your feet wider than the mat. Hang out here until you feel sensations running through the buttocks and the hamstrings here. Maybe about 5 to 8 breaths. We still can do the rule 5, 7, and 11 breaths. This feels really good. It's as if someone's stretching my hamstrings, the little bitty muscles around the bone. So this is a good stretch. You can also windmill the legs side to side. You can also walk your feet back in and open your knees wide. And that's pretty much it. So you hang out, make it yummy for yourself. If you got any questions, again, you can always drop it in the description. Feel free to inbox me if you got questions. And for the next section, it will be 3B, and that will show you the flow of how to put these 4 poses together and get into your sexy, move the body, open up, and move all the trauma out of your body. All right, namaskar.